More of that good hair metal. At number 30, up from 39 on my fantasy playlist, it is Winger with Headed for Heartbreak. Winger, I keep going back. Beavis and Butthead used to make fun of these bands. Winger and Wart. And these guys could rock. But here's the thing, even though they're iconic bands now, back in the day, the hardcore, the guys who are into Megadeth, Metallica, Anthrax, a lot of those headbangers, the hardcore headbangers, they hated the hair metal bands. A lot of them thought they were posers at best. They would come out with these power ballads, but these guys could rock. They really could. I mean, Winger, Madeline, rocked. Off their first album, Winger, Madeline, there was 17, those crunching riffs, those crunchy guitars just roaring right at you. Right out of the TV screen, MTV playing the video 17. That went to number 26 on Billboard's Hot 100. And that's the thing about, and as a matter of fact, Kip Winger, he said that he was inspired when he wrote 17. He was inspired by that song by the Beatles. She was just 17, you know what I mean? And it was just, well, that kind of inspired the song 17 by Winger. And of course, Headed for Heartbreak. Headed for Heartbreak went to number 19 on Billboard's Hot 100. I think probably one of the reasons why a lot of these hair metal bands came under, but there are a number of reasons, but one of the reasons was that they were producing radio-friendly songs that was getting played on FM top 40 radio stations. And I tell you, it was often, and still is often, very difficult to get airplay, to get into those tight playlists, these tight 15, 20, 30 playlists of these FM radio stations. So to get a niche on those playlists is no small achievement. Believe me, it's not. It is no small achievement. Winger, and they would come out with these radio-friendly records, and they would really rock out with something like Hungry. Hungry went to number 85 on Billboard's Hot 100. That was just a classic rock and roll track. Can't get enough. Remember that, man? I used to get into that song. Can't get enough. Watching that video on MTV, 1990, I think. That went to number 42 on Billboard's Hot 100. Then the power ballad, Miles Away, went to number 12. That was one. Actually, that was probably their biggest pop hit, Miles Away. And there was Easy Come, Easy Go, went to number 41 on Billboard's Hot 100. So there's your roster right there. Winger consisted of, oh my goodness, I can't read my chicken scratch. Dadgummit, I was on a roll and now completely derailed. Rob Beach, I believe was his name, the guitar player. Paul Taylor, bass player. And Rod Morgenstein, formerly of the Dixie Dregs, drummer. And of course, you got Kip Winger, who was in Alice Cooper's band. And boy, they toured. They toured with the heavy hitters. They toured with Poison. They toured with Tesla. They toured with Skid Row. And now, here's the deal. I think it's, oh yes, on the album, debut album, they covered Jimi Hendrix's Purple Haze on their debut album. Guess who played slide guitar on Purple Haze, their version of Purple Haze, Winger's version of Purple Haze? Dweezil Sapper. I can't pronounce words for the life of me tonight. The son of Frank Zappa, Dweezil Zappa, played slide guitar on Purple Haze by Winger. Man, isn't that something? The album produced by a guy named Bo Hill. Bo Hill, he worked with Winger. He worked with Kix, one of these heavy metal producers. He produced 3 or 4 albums by Rat. Put Rat on the map. Round and round. Yes, indeed. 1984. Boy, the hair metal, man. The hairspray industry was on a roll back in the day. No doubt about it. Back in the 80s. Late 80s. Anyway, well, we got Winger. Headed for Heartbreak. Number 30. Up 9 from 39 on my fantasy playlist, July 30th, 1989.